Hello, welcome to the Open Central Asia Regional Interest Community. My name is Yerkin Abduraimov. I'm one of the community leaders from Kazakhstan. Today I'm going to be your host as well as a chat moderator. Welcome to the Voice of Leadership series. Imanova from Azerbaijan. She will be speaking on the topic of leadership that promotes professional growth and builds ELT communities. Let me introduce our presenter. Dr. Nurlana Imanova is an experienced English language educator and an international examiner at Cambridge University Press and Assessment. She's the only two officially certified IELTS teacher trainers with the British Council. Holding TESOL, TEFL, and Train the Trainer certifications, she brings over 15 years of expertise in teaching general and academic English. Dr. Imanova is a senior lecturer at Baku Higher Oil School and a Global Teacher Award recipient, delivering international and local trainings and webinars to educators worldwide. Welcome to our community, Dr. Nurlana Imanova. We are very happy to see you again. Thanks for your interest to speak for our community. We are very happy to have you today.
Hello, thank you. Thank you for introduction. Hello, everyone. It's a real pleasure and privilege to be with you here and to be with such a distinguished international audience of educators. As we celebrate America's 250th anniversary, we are reminded that the greatest achievements are not built by individuals alone. They are built by communities of people who share ideas, inspire one another, and invest in future generations. So interestingly, this principle is equally true in education. So today's session is not simply about leadership. It is about a different kind of leadership. Not leadership about authority, not leadership about hierarchy. The leadership that transforms educators, teachers into lifelong learners, and institutions into thriving professional communities. And during the next hour, I would like to invite you to rethink about leadership from the perspective of influence, collaboration, professional learning, and community building. Now I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Not yet, but it's okay. It's uploading maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you see?
Not yet.
Yes, I can see it.
Not yet.
But Miss Rosetta says
yes.
that. Yeah.
I
Yes,
see it.
Yes,
Yes.
it's okay. Maybe it's because
Right.
you know I have a bad internet today because
right,
of the
right.
electricity. Yeah, great. You can start. Yeah,
Okay.
let me announce that the session is being recorded. If you don't want to be seen in the recording, please you can have your camera off. You can not comment. And the session provides a certificate of attendance, and the link will be shared at the end of the webinar and will be available for 30 minutes after the session ends. Thank you. It's over to you, Nurlana.
Okay. Thank you. Let's continue. Yeah. In the next during the next hour, I would like to invite you to rethink about leadership from the perspective of influence, collaboration, professional learning, and community building. Because in today's educational landscape, one greatest possibility is not simply teaching students. So it is delivering teachers who will continue improving long after any training program has finished. And when that happens, students benefit and institutions grow and entire educational systems become stronger. Let's begin this journey together. So, before we begin this discussing leadership, I'd like to give you a roadmap of today's session. By the end of this hour webinar, I hope you'll have not only with new ideas, but with practical strategies that you can immediately implement within your own institutions. We'll begin by redefining what leadership actually means in English language teaching. And because many of us still unconsciously associate leadership with titles or formal positions. Then we'll explore transformational leadership, a leadership model that has increasingly shaped education improvement around the world. From there, we'll examine what I like to call professional learning ecosystems. Professional growth does not happen through isolated workshops, trainings, or webinars. It emerges through mentoring, reflection, collaboration, research, and continuous dialogue. We'll also look at sustainable mentoring models and discuss how successful institutions create cultures where everyone supports each other's growth, success, achievements. Finally, we'll focus on building thriving ELT communities that extend beyond our own schools and even beyond national borders. And I hope you'll finish today's session with your own personal leadership roadmap, one that reflects your context, your values, and your aspirations. Next slide. Just a question for you. Before we discuss theories, I'd like us to think about people. I'd like everyone to reflect on one simple question. Who was the leader that changed your career? Take just a few moments. Now, I want you to think carefully about something. Not who they were, not their title, not whether they were your principal, your director, your mentor, or supervisor. Instead, ask yourself, what exactly did they do? Perhaps they believed in you before you believed in yourself. Perhaps they listened. Perhaps they encouraged you to present your first conference paper. Perhaps they challenged you. Perhaps they simply opened a door. Across my own professional journey, I have come to realize that the people who changed my career rarely did so through authority. They changed it through encouragement, through trust, through support, through opportunities. So leadership is remembered through actions rather than positions, because it's not position. Keep that person in your mind as we continue today's discussion, because by the end of this session, my hope is that each of us will become that person for someone else. And as I mentioned before, leadership is not about authority. Leadership is not about hierarchy. It is about influence. This quotation beautifully captures the central idea of today's webinar. Leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. Education leadership is often misunderstood as managing people. However, management and leadership are not the same. So management ensures that systems function, but leadership ensures that systems flourish, thrive. You may have met teachers with no formal leadership role who influence dozens of educators. Equally, we have all encountered people with impressive titles who inspire very little. And influence comes from credibility, from expertise, from empathy, from generosity, from trust. Most importantly, influence grows through service. It means that leadership is not authority. Leadership is service. So, as educational leaders, our success shouldn't be measured by how many people report to us. Instead, it should be measured by how many people grow because of us. That, I believe, is authentic leadership. That is authentic leadership. Aha. Why leadership matters in ELT, English language teaching. So, why is leadership important, especially in English language teaching? Because leadership influences almost every dimension of educational journey. Let's consider just a few examples. Strong leadership increases teacher motivation. When teachers feel valued, trusted, and supported, they become more creative and more willing to innovate. Leadership also shapes professional identity. Teachers begin seeing themselves not simply as classroom practitioners, but as researchers, mentors, presenters, and contributors to their profession. Leadership encourages motivation. Innovation really happens because someone is taught to innovate. It happens because people feel psychologically safe enough to experiment. And ultimately, all of this affects student achievement. Research consistently demonstrates that schools with strong professional cultures produce better learning outcomes. Leadership also influences institutional culture, teacher retention, and community engagement. In other words, every educational outcome we care about is influenced directly or indirectly by leadership. So that is why investing in leadership is really investing in learning. So the educational leadership shift. As you see, there are two models. I compared these two models, old model and new model. And for many years, educational leadership followed a relatively simple model. As you see, there are two tables that I made up. The leader made decisions, and teachers implemented them. Students received instruction. That is an old model. But today, however, educational leadership looks very different. As you see from the table, instead of simply directing teachers, leaders facilitate collaboration. Teachers learn together. They observe one another and they exchange ideas. They share ideas. They inspire one another. They solve problems together. They solve problems collectively. And those collaborative relationships gradually grow into professional communities, and those communities create richer learning experiences for students. Notice, notice that students are still the ultimate beneficiaries. But instead of improving students directly, effective leaders should improve the adults who teach students, who teach them. This shift from controlling people to empowering communities is perhaps one of the most significant transformations in modern educational leadership. What about the research? You know that there are a lot of researches and that are being conducted. So fortunately, these ideas are not simply inspirational. They are supported by decades of educational research. Professional learning communities have consistently associated with higher teacher efficacy. Teachers become more confident because they learn from one another. And instruction quality improves because teachers are, frequently or on a regular basis discuss practice instead of working in isolation. Student achievement also improves, and when teachers collaborate, when they work together, when they work collectively, students benefit from that. So research has also shown that collaborative cultures improve teacher retention. And teachers are far more likely to remain in institutions where they feel professionally connected. It's a very significant part for teachers. Finally, professional learning communities encourage continuous innovation. So as you see, there are also references that I mentioned here on the slide. I think that you can see it here. And okay. And new ideas spread more quickly when educators regularly exchange experiences, when they exchange their ideas, when they share their ideas, when they collaborate together. Perhaps the most important message from the research is this: professional development is not an event. It is a culture, and leadership creates that culture. Leadership is no longer a position. Let's think like that and conclude this part with perhaps the most important idea of all. Leadership is no longer a position. Then what is leadership? Leadership is influence. Leadership, vision. Leadership is trust. Leadership is service. It is empowerment. And finally, it is reflection. Notice that none of these qualities require a title. Every teacher can demonstrate them. So a newly qualified teacher may inspire experienced colleagues through innovative classroom practice. An experienced teacher may mentor beginning teachers. So in that case, we can we can take it, we can reflect that leadership is no longer a position, so there is no title for that, and every teacher can demonstrate them. And a researcher may influence policy. A presenter may inspire hundreds of educators across different countries. Leadership has become increasingly distributed. It exists wherever people help other people become better. So I'd like to leave you with one question before we continue. If leadership is no longer a position, If leadership is no longer defined by position, how can each of us begin leading today, regardless of our official role? That question will guide the remainder of today's webinar, today's session. So, and now that we have redefined leadership, let's examine 4 leadership approaches that have significantly influenced educational practice. Each leadership style has strength and it serves a different purpose. And they have different purpose. The first is instructional leadership. Here, what is the focus of instructional leadership? The primary focus, the main focus is improving teaching and learning. Leaders spend time in classrooms, support curriculum development, and help teachers enhance instructional quality. The second is transformational leadership. And what is the main focus of transformational leadership? Transformational leadership inspires people through a shared vision. Rather than simply managing performance, they develop people's potential and encourage innovation. The third is distributed leadership. This model recognizes that leadership should not rest with one individual. Instead, expertise is shared across the organization, institution, and leadership becomes everyone's responsibility. Everyone's responsibility. So finally, we have servant leadership. Servant leaders begin with one fundamental question. How can I help others succeed? You see, that's a bit different from other types of leadership. And they place service before authority and people before position, which is very important for leadership. When I work with educational institutions, I often say that effective leaders do not choose only one leadership style. Rather, they know when to use each style. Leadership, therefore, is less about following one model and more about responding wisely to different contexts. And which leadership style creates sustainable growth? So let's imagine leadership is continuum. Yeah. At one end, we have command, right? Here, decisions are made for people. Next comes management. Management, you see it here, where systems and processes are organized efficiently. Management is essential, right? Schools cannot function without good management. And however, management alone rarely transforms organizations. So the next stage is what? So the next stage is coaching. And instead of giving answers, coaches ask questions that help teachers discover solutions for themselves. Beyond coaching comes mentoring. And mentoring is broader. So it supports professional identity, career development, confidence, and long-term benefits, long-term growth. And finally, we arrive at empowerment. This is where sustainable leadership truly begins. They initiate projects, they mentor colleagues, they present at conferences, and they become leaders themselves. Our ultimate goal should never be to create followers. It should be to create more leaders. This is how education improvement becomes sustainable. Okay, transformational leadership. In the previous slides, I mentioned transformational leadership. Transformational leadership has become one of the most influential concepts in modern educational leadership. Why? Why has it become one of the most influential concepts in modern educational leadership? Why? Because it focuses on changing people, not through pressure, but through purpose. There should be purpose. There shouldn't be pressure. Transformation leaders inspire, they don't command. They help teachers believe that meaningful change is possible. They motivate, not through rewards or fear, but by connecting daily work to a larger vision. They create vision. People need to understand not only what they are doing, but why it matters. This is the important part. Yeah, why it matters, why I am doing that work. So, transformation leaders also encourage innovation. Innovation requires psychological safety. So teachers need to know that trying something new, even if it doesn't work efficiently, right? So it is a part of professional learning. Try something new. Because if they don't try something new, if they are afraid of trying something new, they cannot innovate. So if it doesn't work perfectly, so they should try something new. And finally, transformational leaders develop future leaders by motivating teachers, by trusting them. This perhaps is their greatest contribution. A transformation leader measures success not by personal achievements, but by how many others become capable of leading. As education leaders, our greatest legacy is never the programs we create, it is the people we develop. So, transformation leaders inspire, motivate, create vision, encourage innovation, and finally, develop future leaders. From teacher development to professional growth. For many years, professional development was viewed as attending courses, workshops, conferences, right? Training. We often measure development by hours completed rather than by change in practice. So today, our understanding has evolved, and teacher development is only the beginning. Professional growth goes much deeper. Growth influences how teachers think, reflect, collaborate, and continuously improve. Over time, this growth shapes professional identity. Teachers begin seeing themselves as researchers, presenters, mentors, and educational leaders. Eventually, teachers' leadership capacity develops naturally because they begin seeing themselves as supervisors, mentors. So notice the progression, and leadership is not the starting point, it is the outcome of continuous professional growth. So teacher development is the beginning. Then this has important implications for institutions. If you want stronger leaders, we must first create stronger learning opportunities. Leadership cannot simply be assigned. It must be grown. It must be cultivated. Professional growth ecosystem. I'd like you to think about professional learning as an ecosystem rather than a series of isolated events such as workshops, trainings, etc. So in nature, ecosystem thrives because every element supports every other element, right? It is like that in nature, right? So which means that every teacher should support one another, should motivate one another. And professional growth works in exactly the same way. So training introduces new knowledge, workshops introduces maybe new knowledge, reflection helps teachers understand their own practice, mentoring provides personalized support, research encourages curiosity, which can lead to innovation, and communities create belonging, innovation challenges existing assumptions, and collaboration spreads expertise. And ultimately, all of these elements improve what? Of course, student learning. Notice that no single component works effectively on its own. Sending teachers to one conference each year is valuable, but conferences alone do not create sustained professional growth. So real development happens when all these elements interact continuously. Our role as leaders is not simply to organize training, workshops, or conferences. It is designing environments where professional learning becomes part of everyday institutional life. So what makes teachers continue growing? What makes? A fascinating question in educational leadership is this: why do some teachers continue growing throughout their careers, while others gradually stop? Why? Why is it happening? Research on
That's a
motivation.
great question. Yeah.
Yeah, good question.
Great question to reflect. Maybe let's ask a little bit from our audience.
Right, I would be happy to hear their answers.
What do you think, dear participants? What makes teachers continue? Why some teachers keep growing, but some stop growing? Why do you think that happens? You can share your thoughts in the chat box, or you can speak up.
So, shall I?
Hello.
Hello.
Please. Yeah, Balan.
Yeah, my name is Balan. So sometimes we have got the managers or the administrators who start to belittle us, and then to prove them wrong, sometimes we start this development career. For example, I can say about myself in the same way as my previous former principal was telling my diploma, that the bachelor degree is not worse, and then kind of I should be showing more potential, and then So she did not recognize my diploma, my university diploma, that is a bachelor degree. And then I told to my principal, so if you are recognizing only in Azerbaijan university, every other person can enter that university, and then I will prove that I can get that master degree of that Azerbaijan university. And then within 2 years, I completed and graduated from that. And then it was a great, I can say, the path that I have been through. And then it was interesting because I proved the administrator that he was wrong. And then secondly, I also broadened my horizons in getting the knowledge that I have to be delivering to my students. That's all from my end.
Yeah, thank you so
Yes,
much.
it was a good example, right?
Yeah, thank you for sharing your thoughts, Baglan.
Yeah, experience, thoughts and experience.
Yeah, we have two comments in the chat box. Let me read out them. Rosetta says, having a personalized change of transcending in the professional as well as academic chain. Great. Alima says, because teachers want to enlarge their professional skills. Absolutely. Not stay on the same place, of course. See their results of their work. Great comments, dear participants. Thank you so much. Over to you, Nurlana.
Thank you for your answers. Thank you for sharing your experiences and thoughts with us. And so, research on motivation provides several answers because you know that motivation plays a great role here in this context. So, first, teachers need autonomy, independence, because if they feel pressed, they cannot continue and they will not feel motivated. They do not feel motivated to grow, to flourish, to thrive. So professions want opportunities to make decisions and exercise judgment. Second, they need purpose. Teachers need purpose. And people are motivated when they understand that their work has meaningful impact, right? So it means that they should, in order to feel that, in order to understand that, they should have purpose. And third comes competence. Teachers want to feel capable and continuously improve their expertise. They also need belonging. Teaching can sometimes become an isolated profession. Profession communities reduce that isolation. And recognition matters too, because everyone appreciates knowing that their efforts are valued, right? Appreciated, right? So finally, teachers need opportunity. So opportunity to present, opportunity to publish, opportunity to mentor, opportunity to lead. So when institutions intentionally provide these conditions, professional growth becomes self-sustaining. And in the previous slides, I mentioned mentoring and coaching. So, and here, mentoring versus coaching, because sometimes people misunderstand these two terms. They think that they are the same thing, but in fact, they are not the same thing. These two concepts are often used interchangeably, but they are not the same. However, they serve different purposes. Coaching is generally short-term. It focuses on improving specific performance. A coach might help a teacher improve questioning techniques, classroom management, or lesson planning. Now, the relationship is goal-oriented and highly focused, you see? But mentoring is different. Mentoring is long-term. As I told you, coaching is short-term, but mentoring is long-term. So it supports the whole process, career development, professional identity, confidence, well-being, and mentors don't simply answer questions. They listen, they encourage, they share experiences, even they open opportunities, they open doors to opportunities. So both coaching and mentoring are valuable. However, if we want to build sustainable leadership cultures, mentoring becomes especially powerful here because mentoring doesn't simply improve today's teaching and doesn't only help to improve specific performance. It develops tomorrow's leaders. And so far, we have explored leadership from the perspective of individuals. In the next slides, we'll broaden our focus. We'll examine how mentoring expands into professional learning communities, how institutions build vibrant ELT networks, and how digital leadership and artificial intelligence are reshaping professional collaborations across the world, all over the world. Okay. So creating a mentoring culture, we have just discussed the importance of mentoring and even we contrasted them, mentoring versus coaching. So and now let's think beyond individual mentoring relationships and consider what it means to create an entire mentoring culture. A mentoring culture doesn't happen by chance. It is intentionally designed. When mentoring becomes part of an institution's culture, professional growth no longer depends on a single enthusiastic individual. Instead, it becomes everyone's shared responsibility. So consider the different forms of mentoring can take. Beginning teachers benefit from experienced colleagues who help them navigate the realities of classroom practice. Peer mentoring. Okay, peer mentoring reminds us that experience is not the only source of expertise. Teachers at a similar career stage often learn enormously from one another, right? So cross-institution mentoring opens exciting opportunities for schools and universities, institutions to exchange ideas beyond their own walls. And international mentorship broadens our perspectives by connecting educators across cultures and educational systems. One of the most fascinating developments today is reverse mentoring. Reverse mentoring. Younger teachers frequently introduce experienced colleagues to emerging technologies, digital tools, and innovative teaching approaches. So finally, digital mentoring has removed geographical features. Today, we can mentor and even be mentored by educators thousands of kilometers away, right? So why? Thanks to digital technology, thanks to modern technology. And when mentoring becomes embedded in institutional culture, professional learning no longer depends on occasional workshops. It becomes part of everyday professional life. So, building ELT communities. Let's move from mentoring individuals to learning collectively, to learning together. Okay, professional learning communities have become one of the most influential concepts in educational improvement. But what exactly makes a true ELT and ELT communities? It is certainly not a group of teachers meeting simply because it is required, right? It's not for that. Effective ELT shares several defining characteristics. First, they have a shared vision, and everyone understands the purpose they are working toward. And second, they demonstrate collective responsibility. Student success is viewed as everyone's responsibility and not only that of individual teachers. So teachers, third, they engage in reflective dialogue. Teachers openly discuss what worked, what didn't, and what they can improve together, right? We do it together. We discuss it together collectively. And they also embrace shared practice. And instead of closing classroom doors, they open them, right? Through lesson observations, right? Lesson observations, collaborative planning, and constructive feedback. Not only positive, not only negative, constructive feedback. And finally, they pursue continuous improvement. The goal is never perfection. Our goal is never perfection. The goal is continual learning, because every time we learn, lifelong learning. Because if you think that it is perfect, and then it means that there will not be any improvement. So the goal is continual learning. The strongest educational institutions are not those that avoid challenge. They are those that learn from them together, from challenge together. And building ELT communities. Okay. Building ELT within schools, teachers collaborate through departmental meetings, peer observations, and shared projects. Across universities, institutions develop partnerships that encourage research, curriculum development, and joint profession development. National associations provide opportunities to connect with colleagues facing similar educational contexts, and international organizations allow us to exchange ideas with other educators from around the world, right? And online communities have become particularly powerful, especially in our modern world, especially in our contemporary world. So distance is no longer a barrier to collaboration. So research groups allow educators to investigate classroom challenges systematically, and special interest groups bring together professionals who share specific passions, interests, whether that is assessment, young learners, technology, or teacher education. And looking back at my own professional journey, many of the most valuable opportunities I have received came not from job description, but from becoming part of professional communities. Communities create opportunities that individuals rarely discover alone. As you see here, as we are doing here now, yeah, here we are. We are joining ELT communities, and that is why we can share our. Here we can build networking, and it means that we can share our ideas. We can support each other, no matter that we are far from each other, maybe even thousands of kilometers away. So And community is stronger than competition. For many years, education sometimes encouraged competition. Schools competed, teachers competed, institutions competed, right? But today's educational challenges are simply too complex for isolated solutions. So the future belongs to collaboration. And imagine our professional community as a network. Every connection represents an opportunity to learn, right? As we are doing here, right? And ideas flow in every direction. Resources are exchanged freely, yeah? And teachers collaborate on research. They present together at conferences. They publish together. The network becomes stronger with every new connection. So when one educator succeeds, it means that the community benefits from that. So this is collaboration. It is not competition. So this shift from competition to collaboration is one of the defining characteristics of modern professional leadership. So instead of asking, how can I be better than others? Just perhaps we should ask, how can we better together? How can we better together? So that question transforms educational leadership. And okay, digital leadership in ALT. Why digital leadership? You know that we are living in contemporary world where technology is ubiquitous, right? In our world, technology is ubiquitous. So, of course, it will have an impact on every field as well as leadership. So, technology has fundamentally changed what educational leadership looks like. A decade ago, professional learning largely depended on what? Attending face-to-face events, right? But today, digital leadership allows us to connect continuously. For example, now we are connecting, and this is one of those examples. So webinars make expertise accessible across continents all over the world. And virtual conferences, virtual training, virtual conferences allow thousands of educators to participate without traveling. And artificial intelligence supports collaboration and resource development, special resource development. Shared repositories make lesson plans, research, and even teaching materials available to global communities. Digital mentoring allows experienced educators to support colleagues regardless of location. Digital leadership, however, is not simply about using technology. It's not only about using technology. It is about using technology intentionally to strengthen relationships, expand learning opportunities, and build sustainable professional communities. Technology should never replace human connection. Just it should amplify it. And AI as a leadership partner. Artificial intelligence is undoubtedly one of the most discussed topics in education today. And as educational leaders, one question is no longer whether AI will influence education, because it already has, right? It already has. So that's why it's not a question. that whether AI will influence education or not. No, because AI already has an influence on education. So the more important question is, how do we use AI responsibly? That is the question. That is the question, right? So, because AI should be used responsibly, intentionally. There should be purpose. And AI can support lesson design by generating ideas and adapting materials. It can provide rapid feedback on student writing, speaking. It can encourage professional reflection by helping teachers analyze classroom practices. It assists with resource creation, saving valuable preparation time. It also strengthens community collaboration by helping educators co-create materials more efficiently. However, there is one important principle we should always remember. One important principle that we should always remember. AI can support leadership. It cannot replace leadership. So AI can support leadership, but it cannot replace leadership. Leadership requires empathy, ethical judgment, trust, relationship building, cultural understanding. These remain deeply human qualities. As educational leaders, our responsibility is not to compete with AI. It's not our responsibility. It is to lead wisely in an age where AI, artificial intelligence, has become part of professional landscape. So technology changes, human leadership remains essential. Okay, so successful international initiatives. One of the greatest strengths of our profession is its global nature. Global nature. So, around the world, all over the world, remarkable professional communities continue to support teachers' development. You know that there are a lot of teachers communities. So the British Council teacher, one of them is the British Council teacher communities, and it has connected educators through professional learning and teacher development programs for decades. And TESOL communities bring together practitioners from diverse educational contexts to exchange research and classroom practice. IATEFL special interest groups provide focused opportunities for educators to collaborate around shared professional interests, and then online regional ELT associations create valuable local networks while maintaining international connection. And online teacher communities have become increasingly influential, allowing educators to collaborate every day rather than waiting for annual conferences. So the common feature across all these initiatives is not simply professional development. It is professional belonging. People grow faster when they learn together. So communities create confidence, and they create opportunity, and perhaps most importantly, communities remind us that none of teachers alone. This is one of the most important parts. And okay, growing an ELT community. I'd like to conclude this slide with a simple case study that illustrates how many successful ELT communities develop. Every community begins with a need, right? So perhaps teachers feel professionally isolated. Perhaps they need support with assessment, right? Perhaps they want opportunities to collaborate. Their first response doesn't have to be ambitious. Often it begins with a single small training session. If that meeting proves valuable, people return. Regular meetings gradually establish trust. Teachers begin sharing ideas more openly. They begin to exchange their ideas more openly. So collaborative projects naturally appear, naturally emerge. Over time, leadership becomes distributed. So different members begin organizing workshops, trainings, leading discussions, mentoring colleagues, and initiating new projects. Eventually, what began as a single meeting evolved into a sustainable professional network. This reminds us that thriving professional communities are not built overnight. They grow gradually, one conversation, one collaboration, one relationship at a time. So as education leaders, our role is not to control these communities. Our role is here to create the conditions in which teachers can flourish. Okay, so far we have explored the leadership, how leadership develops people and communities. Now we'll focus on overcoming challenge, identifying practical solutions, preparing future-ready leaders, and most importantly, reflecting on the kind of educational leaders we each aspire to become. So, common challenge, real challenge, and shared solutions. As inspiring as leadership can be, we also need to acknowledge reality. Even every education leader faces challenges, right? So leadership is not about avoiding obstacles. It's about navigating them with resilience and purpose. So one of the most common challenges is resistance to change. Resistance to change, which is very important here. People often assume that resistance comes from negativity, but in many cases it comes from uncertainty. Change creates questions, and good leaders create clarity. Another challenge is limited resources. So many institutions operate with financial, technological, or even staffing constraints. Yet some of the most innovative educational initiatives around the world have appeared from resource-limited contexts because creativity often grows where resources are scarce, little. So teacher burnout has become another significant concern. Educators continue to face increasing workloads while trying to meet ever-changing expectations. As leaders, we must remember that sustainable improvement depends on sustainable people. So sustainable improvement depends on sustainable people. So time is another challenge. Teachers frequently tell us that professional development is valuable, but they simply do not have enough time for that. So isolation also remains an issue. Despite working in schools filled with people, many teachers still feel professionally isolated. And finally, there is lack of recognition. Recognition does not always require financial rewards. Sometimes a sincere thank you. We say thank you. Yeah, an opportunity to present or public acknowledgement of someone's work can have a profound impact. So recognition is not always financial reward. Even one word thank you could be enough. The first responsibility of leadership is not pretending this challenge do not exist. So it is recognizing this challenge honestly and responding thoughtfully. And practical solutions. Fortunately, every challenge presents an opportunity to innovate. Let's consider a few practical examples. Let's think about that. First, micro-learning. Okay, professional development does not always require full-day workshops, full-day trainings, full-day conferences, full-day seminars, right? So 10-minute learning sessions, short videos, or brief collaborative discussions can often be just and effective when they are continuous. So second, peer observation. Observation should never be about inspection. It's not about inspection. It should be about learning from one another. So when teachers observe colleagues with curiosity rather than judgment, everyone benefits. Everyone benefits. So another powerful strategy is building communities of practice. When teachers on a regular basis discuss classroom experiences, they naturally begin solving problems together, collectively, right? So recognition systems also matter, of course, and leadership succession is another essential strategy because effective leaders always prepare future leaders, right? So that is why leadership succession is another essential strategy here. And the goal is to ensure that leadership continues long after individual leaders evolve, move on. And finally, digital collaboration. Digital collaboration allows professional learning to continue regardless of geography. So together, these practical solutions transform isolated initiatives into sustainable professional cultures. And leadership competencies for the future. The question is no longer whether education will change. So the question is whether we are preparing leaders who can guide that change. So future education leaders require several interconnected competencies. Communication remains fundamental, and leadership begins with conversations that build trust. Vision is equally important. Leaders help people see possibilities before they become realities. Emotional intelligence has become increasingly significant, especially in today's world. Understanding people, recognizing emotions, and responding with empathy are essential leadership qualities. So innovation requires leaders who are willing to experiment, adapt, and continuously improve. Cultural competence has become indispensable in our increasingly interconnected world. Educational leaders today work with leaders and colleagues from diverse cultural backgrounds, from different countries all over the world. So AI literacy is another emerging competency, and leaders do not need to become computer scientists, but they do need sufficient understanding to make informed educational decisions about technology. That is important. So collaboration remains at the heart of everything we do. Finally, ethical leadership provides the foundation upon which all other competencies rest. Technology will continue evolving. We want it or we don't want it, it doesn't matter, because technology will continue evolving. Education policies will change, but integrity, fairness, and respect will always remain central to meaningful leadership. Leadership roadmap. I don't know. Now I would like us to view leadership as a lifelong journey rather than a destination. So every journey begins with what? Every journey begins with self-awareness. Leadership starts with understanding ourselves, our values, strengths, biases, and areas for growth. From self-awareness comes learning. The best leaders never stop being learners. Learning naturally leads to mentoring, and as we grow, we begin supporting the growth of others. Those mentoring relationships gradually expand into community. Communities create opportunities for shared learning and collective improvement. From community emerges innovation. New ideas flourish where people feel connected and supported. Finally, innovation leads to impact. Okay, so section. Before we conclude, I'd like to invite you to reflect one final time. Complete this sentence, please. I think you see this sentence on the slide, right? Please complete this sentence. The next step I will take as an education leader is, I would like to hear your answers, or maybe you can type in the chat, or maybe you can raise your hand to read out.
Yeah, thank you, Nurlana. Yes, dear participants, let's reflect. Let's see it as an exit ticket. The next step I will take as an educational leader is?
Yes. Perhaps your answer is to begin maybe mentoring a colleague, right?
Yeah, we have a quick response. Rosetta says, retire very early, before my 15th birthday. Yeah,
okay.
We can agree with this statement, Rosetta.
Right.
Teacher's job is very tiring and difficult, but very interesting.
Even more than agree.
Yeah, we can agree with you. Yeah. So any other responses?
Perhaps your answer is to begin to establish a professional learning community, right?
Yeah. Well, as for me, as the next step I will take as an educational leader is to conduct our second international virtual conference, Open Central Asia Regional Interest Community. So this is our main event of the year. So that's it. That's the next step.
Super.
Yeah.
Super. Okay. So perhaps maybe it is simply just to listen more carefully, right? Because it's also a part of leadership to listen to others, to learn from one another.
Absolutely.
Okay. So as today's session comes to an end, I hope each of us leaves not only inspired but committed to taking one practical step forward. Because leadership is always demonstrated through action. And let's briefly revisit the central ideas we have explored today. So first, leadership develops people. Our great responsibility is not simply managing systems, but helping others realize their potential. So second, communities multiply impact. When educators collaborate, learning spreads far beyond individual classrooms. Third, professional growth never stops. The most effective educators remain lifelong learners. Fourth, every educator can lead. Leadership is no longer defined by position or title. It is demonstrated through influence, generosity, and service. Finally, together we build stronger ELT ecosystems. And no single teacher, school, university, or organization can solve every educational challenge. But together, through collaboration, shared purpose, we can create learning improvement. These 5 ideas summarize everything we have discussed today. And at the end of our session, I would like to thank everyone for your participation, for your for your engagement, and for your time that you spent here, and for your joining us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nurlana. It was a very great, motivational and very inspiring presentation from you to instill some leadership skills into us, and that's great. So one more comment, one more exit ticket from Alima. Yes, one more exit ticket. The next step I will take as an educational leader, I will collaborate with English teachers and participate in August conference. That's great. We are very happy to hear that, Alima. Thank you so much. And some appreciations. Thank you so much, Nurlana,
Thank
in
you.
the comment
It was
section.
great.
Thank participants. Thanks you for this great presentation.
It was great to be here with you, all of you.
You are welcome. Thank you so much, dear participants, for the active participation in this webinar. So, dear Nurlana, we will reach out to you shortly to hand out your certificate of appreciation. For now, you can stay with us. We have a short announcement. Okay, because of the internet connection, let me just announce the webinar here without sharing the screen. Our next webinar just a little bit, yeah. Just a moment. Okay, our next webinar and the last webinar of in June, and we are wrapping up the half of the year. Our last webinar is in the Cascade Learning series. Our presenter Ali Juma Durdiyev from Turkmenistan. He will be cascading the webinar, the knowledge gained from the webinar of American English Live Series 24.6. The topic is not just role plays, drama, and summer camp games for language teachers. The webinar is going to be on June 30th, 5 p.m. Tashkent time. The last webinar, and we will go on vacation. And we will have a rest for 2 months. We will be preparing for our conference, the second virtual conference, which will be on August 11th, 8:30 a.m. Tashkent time. So you can please join. Please share our flyer with your colleagues, with your institutions, with your community. We will be very happy to see all of you, to see all of them. Thank you so much. The link to apply for the certificate is shared in the chat box. So please complete the form as soon as possible. It will be available for 30 minutes after the session ends. So yeah, we are very happy that we are wrapping up the half of the year. We are very happy. So, and we are going on vacation, and we will be preparing for our second conference. That's great. That's amazing. And thanks to our community leaders, to our regional coordinators, our global coordinators. So it's all thanks to you, and as well as our presenters and active participants.
Goodbye.
See you.
Have a nice weekend.
Thank you so much. See you on Monday, June 30th. Yeah.
On Tuesday.